Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Friday, November 17th. Happy Friday, everyone. Today is it's going to be a pretty risky day because of the news, I believe. I'll check the news in a little bit. Time is currently 6:23 right now, so we got market opening up in about 7 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a couple things here to update. Looks good. More things right here. Yeah, let me check the news again. I don't know if today was a day with all that news or if it was a different day, but when I took a glance, looked like there's stuff lined up for today. All right, so I got everything lined up over here. Let me go ahead and send this link out to you guys here in the premium. And we should be good to go. Right there. All right, so all right, as people continue to join in, I'm going to go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here on the daily chart. Good there. Over to the 8-hour. Let me go back real quick. Go down to the 8-hour. Going down to the 4-hour. Going down to the 2-hour. Going down to the 1-hour. Going down to the 30-minute. Down to the 15. Lower level right there. Down to the 10. And it looks like we're good to go. All right, so we got liquidity marked up over here. Closest level down below is going to be over here. It might get hit pre-market at 35,070. So that's going to be the first level right here. This might get hit pre-market. And then we have a higher level over here, which is a higher quality liquidity at 35,168. All right, so we got liquidity marked up right there. Here is our clean chart. I'm gonna go ahead and mark up 6:30. Mark up 8 o'clock. Let's go up to the 4-hour time frame real quick, see if there's any structure around this area. There's structure right there. And there's currently too low. Currently a pending structure right here. Go down to the 1 hour. All right, so looks like price is currently bouncing off the 1 hour resistance or 4 hour resistance. Let's put that up here. As you guys can see, market's kind of messy right here. So price is currently bouncing off the 4 hour resistance level right there. And then we got the 4 hour support right here. Those are the closest levels between 4 hour and 1 hour. Got that marked up right there. We'll come back to that in a little bit. Other than that, let me check news real quick. So yeah, we had some high impact news over here at 5:30. Building permits, a lot of medium impact news. So 5:30, 5:45, we have the Fed speaking. We have the Fed speaking at 6:45, and then we have the Fed speaking at 7. So as I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of Fed members speaking at pretty much every other 15 minutes or so. And I mean, we'll see, we'll see if that'll help us or if it'll hurt us, but we'll see. The only real big news event happened at 5:30 over here. I'll mark that up. Which you want to be careful because a lot of these Fed speakers can really toss up the market. So you can see over here, this thing is dumping super heavy. This market isn't even open yet. This is pre-market. So this is the candle right before open. And you guys can see that huge spike to the downside, right? Kind of predicted that to happen, as I mentioned earlier, before market even opened. I said market's going to move kind of crazy. And it did right there. It probably blasted right through liquidity. Yeah, there you go. So it blasted right through liquidity with no drawdown. You guys took the liquidity push right there. It also hit the lower level too, down below. So 2 levels of liquidity right there that got knocked out. Market is now officially open. I'm gonna go ahead and mark up opening price over here. Crazy spike right there on open, or prior to open. So we got the opening candle right here. William said V1. I haven't looked at the bias yet, so I wouldn't take that V1, but possibly. I haven't looked at the overall bias. I think it's still bullish, but I mean, we'll have to double check that. So we got everything marked up right here. Looks like we are good to go. I wouldn't take anything right now, guys. You guys can see that crazy price movement on open. So let's take a look at the overall bias. So looking over here at retail sentiment, it's currently 66% short. This indicates that 66% of retail traders are currently selling right now. So you typically want to do the opposite and buy. Looking over here at the fundamentals are currently, they're up 50 points. So they're pretty much neutral right now. So I'll go ahead and put this up real quick. Today's overall, I'll say today's current overall bias. Retail sentiment is bullish. It's currently 66% short. Fundamental bias is currently neutral. It's plus 50 points. Short-term technicals, long-term technicals. So looking over here, we currently have a bearish short-term technicals. You can see the 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute are currently bearish. Prices below the pivots, trend meters red, pivots are angling down. The higher time frames over here are a bit mixed. So the higher time frames are neutral. So we'll put bearish neutral here. This might flip back up, and we'll put neutral here. So we don't really have much of a bias today, guys. The retail sentiment is currently bullish. Fundamental bias is neutral. Short-term technicals are bearish neutral, and long-term technicals are also bearish neutral. ATR is currently 18 right now, so we do have some decent volatility at the moment. But again, you might want to just kind of sit tight and wait for the market to kind of stabilize a bit before you look for any entries. The sell signal right here already was used for the momentum pullback scalp. So you can see over here, price kind of came down, retraced on this green candle right here. Entry would have happened on this red candle where price came back down further. And that's where the entry came up right there. So if you guys took that right there, great. I wouldn't have taken that trade. It was literally on open. So not one I would take. So we'll have to wait for a new momentum signal here to come up before we can start looking for any entries here. Going over here to our high-low scalp V2 chart, I'm going to mark up opening candle, which is right there. So we do have a, actually we don't. Closest level would be right there. We don't have the opportunity for that low to be established yet. So we gotta wait for that low to get established. Once it's established, we can probably look for a possible entry. Yeah, Andrew said that was going to happen. It's going to tap and shoot up. Yeah, would have thought of that too, right? There's no entries right now, guys. I'm gonna leave this alone right now until we have a low that's established. Low has not been established yet, so we'll obviously we'll have to see what happens next here. Let's see. Oh yeah, the breakout came out. So guys, I don't know if anybody saw the breakout over here. The breakout did come out right here. So market opened at 6:30. We had a sell signal right here. There's two strong red candles. Breakout V2 came up right there. So if you took that for the typical 25-25 full TP right there for the breakout V2, if anybody was looking to take that. So I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot of that. Put that in the spreadsheet. Thanks, Andrew, for mentioning that. Came up at 6:33. The two back-to-back breakout V2 wins. Now at 6:33, super sell, win, 250. High impact news. Market. All right, so there goes the breakout V2. If we get a buy signal and two red candles, that's going to be the momentum counter scalp. Otherwise, there's nothing else for us to take here right now. Price is coming down super heavy off the 4-hour resistance right here. So if I see more structure, I'll mark up more structure here. I'll identify if price, goes into a range or whatnot. But at the moment, we don't really have anything yet. Price is currently at a lower low. So if this, we'll see if this here bounces. Scalp right there. Here's one thing too, guys. When you guys see a high-low scalp, like an original high-low scalp, and it breaks past a lower low, it usually plays out pretty nice. Like, so for example, over here, we had this lower low. This candle broke and closed below it. This was an original high-low scalp. For anyone who still applies it, played out perfectly. So that's one thing too. If you guys are still taking the original high-low scalp entry, ATR is currently 20 right now. Yeah, so if you guys still want to take the high-low scalp entry, guys, I mean, you guys are more than welcome. The strategy still works fine. I think the high-low scalp, the V1, if you guys were with me, if you guys have been trading with me for a while, the high-low scalp, the original high-low scalp, and the V1 variation, they work really good when they're based off the lower lows and the higher highs. That's the whole reason why I created the update to the indicator. So if you guys remember the indicator, you can have it where it only has higher highs and lower lows. If you look for the high-low scalps that break past them, like for example, here's lower low, price broke past it with a triple confluence. This thing happened pre-market, went straight down super heavy. Again, right here, price broke past the lower low, broke down super heavy. So if you guys are looking to take that, just a heads up. And also this was also a high-low scalp V2 as well. So this was an original high-low scalp and then also a high-low scalp V2. Price broke below, came back up, came down super heavy on this next candle. I totally missed it because it happened so quickly. I don't think I'd use this candle right here because this is a pre-market candle, guys. I was looking for one after 6:30. So I have it marked over here on the high-low scalp chart, this blue line, because I typically don't like using the levels before market is opened. But yeah, that was a high-low scalp V2 right there. Randy is asking if there's a V1. I don't think there's any V1s right now, Randy, because there's no overall bias. Or actually, there might be an overall bias. No, there's not really an overall bias right now because it's currently bullish on retail sentiment. It's neutral for fundamentals. It's bearish neutral for short term, and it's neutral for long term. So there's no bias right now for the V1 variation. All right, so we're just waiting for another level here to be set. Again, there's a lower low right here. So if anybody's looking to take that again, as we mentioned earlier, it has to be established though. So it can't just like keep disappearing. It has to establish as a lower low. If price comes back down below, that's going to indicate that this will be a pretty decently strong level. And if you guys want to take that as an original high-low scalp, or if you want to take it as a high-low scalp V2, you have opportunity in both directions. So for the main part, you probably want to wait for that to establish. Once it establishes, then you can look for a possible entry for a high-low scalp V2 or a high-low scalp. Ellen is asking if price is oversold. I believe so. Yeah, it's way oversold. So typically I'll measure from the previous high. I'll come back down to where price is currently at. It's currently dropped to about 1,300 pips. So it's down pretty far. That lower low I mentioned right here didn't establish. You can see it now move down to the next level. So you have to establish it first before you can use it as a level. So just keep that in mind, guys. No entry right there. There's also no entries here for any momentum pullback scalps. In order for us to have an entry here, we need to have a buy signal. We need a buy signal to confirm retracement. And once it confirms retracement, we'll catch it as it comes back down. So nothing there on the 1 minute. 1 minute momentum pullback scalp. And there's no entry here either for the high-low scalp V2, at least not yet. So price just continues to tumble down even lower and lower. Yeah, it's still tumbling down. Let me check the news from this morning. So the news was actually positive from this morning. And then it came down super heavy. So whatever the Fed is speaking about right now, it's obviously not good for the market, right? Because this is the only reason I can see price dropping heavily is because the Fed members are confirming that the market's not good right now. The news from this morning for building permits and everything were positive, but the Fed has been speaking since 5:45. So 5:45 Fed Barr was speaking, and then after that Fed Collins, and then at 6:45 Fed Goolsbee is going to speak, then Fed Daily, then Fed Collins again. So we got a lot of Fed members speaking today. And yeah, we'll see where this goes. Yeah, Andrew said he might look for a high-low momentum scalp. I think that'd probably be a good thing to look for too, because price is so overextended. I talked to Andrew about this yesterday. One thing to look for if you guys are looking for a high-low momentum scalp is to look for that overextension, right? Because price is super overextended right here. It's dropped almost 2,000 pips. So once you get the lower low there, and then price pushes up with the buy signal, it's probably going to provide a pretty nice high-low momentum scalp, at least for 100 pips, right, to get past this area here for retracement. So yeah, if you guys are looking for the high-low momentum scalp, I might even be interested in taking that as well, because price is so overextended so far, but down below. It's down 1,440 pips right now. So it's oversold. And it's going to have to retrace, right? Price can't keep dropping forever. Like it's going to have to at least pull back a little bit. You guys know that. So that's something to maybe look out for here. The thing that you want to be careful for is if you guys are looking to take that, also be careful for the sessions up there. So as long as your TP is below the sessions, or it doesn't break into the sessions, I think, you should be able to hit your TP there, or it might even spike up a little bit right past it, then come back down. And at least as long as it's enough to hit your TP. So we have no official entries right here right now for the two strategies that we're applying. But as you guys know, there's other strategies that can be applied. You can apply the original high-low scalp. You can apply the triple confluence. You can apply the high-low momentum scalp, there's a handful of entry that you guys can apply. All the strategies work perfectly fine. You just have to understand and figure out, which market conditions fit perfectly for a specific entry. So for this right here, a high-low momentum scalp would be pretty perfect because price is overextended and it's due for retracement, right? So again, if you're looking for this here, the buy signal would have to break and close past pivots 1 and 2. If it breaks past 1 but not 2, then there's no entry there. But if it breaks past both of them, then there's going to be opportunity there for an entry. So if you guys want to look at it, feel free to continue watching it. The candles here are kind of weak, so I'm not expecting it to break through, at least not yet. But possibly a little later once, it actually kind of pushes through. The volatility here is starting to die down a bit. So again, if you're watching for this entry here, you're looking for that green momentum signal to break and close past pivots 1 and 2, not just one, but both of them. So it might be this candle right here. This price continues to swing up. So you have a lower low right there now. You now have a new support right here. Yeah, but as you guys can see, the volatility is super low. If it closes invalid, there's no entry there. It has to be a valid candle. It's got to be a valid green candle. It's got to break past pivots 1 and 2. Barack said spread is playing games too. Yeah, the spread's currently at 180 right now. It's kind of going back and forth at the moment. No buy signal there yet, but the volatility is definitely very low. So no entry there for a high-low momentum scalp. Again, if you guys want to take it, feel free. I'll mark it up for you guys. But again, the volatility here is super low, so I don't know if this will really break past it. This might be it right here if it closes. Gion is asking if there's a counter. If there's 2 red candles that follow it, then yeah, that'd be a counter scalp, momentum counter scalp. This is a high-low momentum scalp. But again, Andrew, if you remember earlier, I mentioned, if it gets too close to the sessions right here, you might want to be a little careful with the entry. Or if you do take it, you might want to pull out a little early if possible. It doesn't look like it's going to close. Yeah, there's no entry there. Yeah. So the candle broke and closed past it, guys. There's no longer any opportunity there for a high-low momentum scalp. As you guys can see, it kind of died down a bit right here with regard to volatility. So that candle broke past it. There's no longer any more high-low momentum scalp at that moment. But if you get a buy signal and 2 red candles, that's going to be a momentum counter scalp like Gion was mentioning. So I think I have the high-low scalp V1. Where's that criteria here for it? Yeah. I mean, technically, if you really wanted to take it, if you really feel comfortable and you've been wanting to take this candle is still technically below, but I wouldn't take it because it's super messed up already. I'm pretty sure, well, I mean, it's right at the line. It's really hard to tell if it actually closed above it. It looks like it did. But yeah, if you wanted to take it, this would still be the entry right there. I wouldn't take it myself. And also there's a high low in between. Yeah, exactly, Daniel. So I wouldn't take the trade here. As you can see, when the market starts to get a little messy like this, it's better to just sit out, because at that point, you're kind of forcing the trade. Yeah, because at that point, you're forcing the trade. This candle kind of broke past it, and then also there's a lower high in between. So no entry right there for the high-low momentum scalp. We currently have a buy signal right here. So if we get 2 red candles, that's going to be an opportunity for a momentum counter scalp. For anyone looking to take that there. Looks like it'd be a nice correction back down. So it looks like if this establishes as the lower high, this might establish as a range. And then if that's the range, price might climb back down to retest a lower low right here. All right, so this might be the momentum counter scalp if the sell signal comes out. So there's nothing here right now. And the volatility is really dying down. As you guys can see, prices just starting to go sideways. I was hoping we'd have a volatile day today, but it seems like because the Fed is speaking today, it just picks up whenever they announce something, and then it kind of dies down a bit. We have Fed member Goolsbee speaking right now. I don't know if you say anything good or not, but the market is pretty much flat at the moment, as you guys can see. Nothing going on here. There's no red candle there, so there's no entry there for a momentum counter scalp. If we get a sell signal, it might start setting up for a momentum pullback scalp, but right now there's just nothing there. Yeah, exactly. Andrew said candles move too sluggish. Yeah, the volatility here is pretty much dead at the moment. I don't know if there's any more liquidity down here. Not anywhere close. So pretty much all levels of liquidity here got hit down below. These candles aren't really moving at all. Pretty flat. All right, so we got one red candle here. Let's see if it starts to climb back down. If it climbs back down further, then this might be it'll be an issue for momentum counter scalp. But you actually want a direction, so you don't want price to go back and forth like this. You want like a red candle and then continue climb down. It can inch down if it needs to, but yeah, you guys can see every candle here is kind of just, it's not consolidating pretty heavy. So if you want to take this as a momentum counter scalp, guys, I would probably look for the candle to kind of break down a little bit lower. So you want it to break down somewhere around this area right here, because you want some sort of strong red candle to push out of this consolidation. So if you do take that for a momentum counter scalp, it'll push down to your TP at least, right? Because the volume here is just pretty much dead at the moment. So if it closes red, this is technically going to be a momentum counter scalp, but if it closes a lot lower, that's the one that I'd probably be looking for, because you want some sort of volatility and some sort of direction to push in towards your trade, right? You don't want it to just be flat. So here's the momentum counter scalp. I'll see if I maybe want to take it, but I got to see how it closes. Again, if it closes down around that circled area, possibly, but if not, probably hold off on it. I'm gonna hold off on it. So the entry's right there. So you can see there's no volume there. Since price didn't come down to where my circle is drawn, it didn't close below that area. You can see it just keeps going back and forth. It's not really a good area to trade in. You want there to be at least some volume if you're going to be taking a trade like this, because this is a scalp trade that needs to hit right away. You don't want to be holding on to this position for like 5-10 minutes, right? This trade's supposed to hit like immediately. So not in the position. We're going to document it for this spreadsheet, but I'm not in this right here. So I'll follow it for you guys. And we'll see where it goes. If we get a sell signal, it's going to set up for a momentum pullback scalp. However, the volatility, again, as you can see here, it's very low. So we'll see. Yeah, Patricia said she's not liking this. Maddie said he's going to hold off on this. Still, it's still in that sideways area. Yeah, same. I'm not going to mess with it. We'll follow it, but I'm not going to. It's already too late to get into it anyway. So even if I wanted to get into it late, it'd be too late. Yeah, exactly. Maddie said he'd rather take a momentum pullback scalp once it pushes out of that area. Also, William said he doesn't feel like taking that momentum counter scalp at all. Yeah, me neither. So it's probably a good thing that we sat out of it, because you can see price is not really going anywhere. The last thing you want to do is be caught in this consolidation. It just keeps going back and forth between this area for a long time, and then eventually it's going to break out. So you're either going to get really lucky or you're going to get really unlucky, right? So super glad that we didn't take this trade here. But again, we'll continue to follow it. There's just nothing for us here to really play with, because there's nothing going on. The volatility here is super low. I'm going to go ahead and mark up. So on the clean chart here, I typically don't mark up the lower highs. but I'll just mark this up here so that we can see structure. I'll make some adjustments once a higher high is built, but you can see over here on our clean chart, there's nothing going on. Price is back into this range right here. And pretty trash for the most part. There's just nothing there. Nothing going on. A new pending low right there. There's nothing here. All right, I guess we'll just keep our eye out on the clean chart over here to see if there's any, anything that happens, but there's just nothing here at the moment. Barack is asking if there's a double body. I don't think so. I don't see any double body here at all, Barack. So if you mark up the body right here, this one's like way above it. So yeah, I don't see a double body or a double wick there at all. Let's see. Yeah, Patricia said this has to push out of that area. Yeah, I agree. So we got the area right here marked up. We'll see when price finally breaks out of this area. And then from there, we'll maybe look for some entries. But again, price needs to break out of here. It's just consolidating. And it's just getting tighter and tighter within this like little tight spot here. This is the bigger range, but it's now consolidating around this upper area right here. So we'll see. See, William said, just think how awful you would feel if you forced that trade, would have had a bunch of drawdown and stress on a Friday. Yeah, exactly, William. I agree with you 100%. This week hasn't been so, I mean, it's been okay. Earlier in the week, we had a lot more volatility and pretty much every entry was hitting, but for the most part, this week has been pretty stale. Right now is especially stale. Its price doesn't really move very much. I was expecting a little more volatility from the news this morning, plus the Fed speeches, but we got Fed Daily speaking over here at 7 o'clock. Hopefully Fed Daily will kind of shake up the market a little bit and we can start looking for any possible entries. But at the moment right now, specifically, there's just nothing for us to take here. You can see over here, the entry did hit TP. So the momentum counter scalp did hit TP. It took a long time though, but it did hit TP within the 5-minute criteria, right? Typically you want the entry to hit within 5 minutes. And it did hit right there. So there goes the entry for the momentum counter scalp. Two of the unofficial strategies that we typically have been testing have hit full TP today. We had the breakout V2 and the momentum counter scalp that came up today. Let me just add this down here. There was no trade on the 16th. Entry came up at about, we'll just say 650. It was for a sell if it went for 100 pips. There you go. So if anybody took the momentum counter scalp, full TP on that trade, two of the unofficial strategies that we've been testing, momentum counter scalp and breakout V2, both hit full TP for today. So for the 17th, 2 wins back to back. Pretty much all the strategies have hit today for the most part that we've been following. We had the breakout V2, the momentum counter scalp right here. We had multiple liquidity levels here that also got hit. So about like 4 entries that hit today, if anybody wanted to take them. We did mark them up for you guys. So there was a bunch of opportunities there to take entries. But, due to the market conditions, that's why we would have skipped a lot of these. So as I mentioned before, guys, and yesterday and every other day before that, our main goal here is not necessarily to focus on wins. Our main goal here is to focus on avoiding losses, right? So I'll give you guys entries here, but it's up to you whether you want to take the trade or not. I'll tell you how risky it is. I'll tell you, the pros and cons to taking a certain trade. For this trade right here, I wanted to take this trade myself. I mentioned if price came down a little bit lower, I would have taken it, right? But price didn't come down lower, so it didn't fit my criteria. However, the strategy did line up how it was supposed to. So the entry did come up there as an official entry with the criteria, but because of the market conditions and the sideways movement, I decided not to take the trade because I thought it'd be risky. We had a sell signal right here. Now we have a buy signal, so that if this buy signal comes up, there's not going to be any entry for a momentum counter scalp, or sorry, a momentum pullback scalp, because we need that sell signal. So if this comes up with the buy signal, we need another sell signal to confirm the momentum pullback scalp direction. And then from there, we'll start looking for the pullback. But at the moment right here, there's currently a buy signal. Now it's no longer valid. This is a big red flag, guys. If you guys see back-to-back momentum like that, this is a huge red flag because obviously something's going on here that's pushing price super heavily in one direction and then the other direction. I think it's because the Fed's speaking soon. So like right now, I think Fed daily is going to speak at 7 o'clock. So you're getting a lot of this pre-speech movement. I think a lot of people are trying to catch the correction back up because of the news from earlier today. So I think like they had a big spike right there to the upside. And then one of two things will happen here. Price either correct back up to opening price, or it'll just slump right back down. Right? It doesn't really matter to us too much because we don't care where price is necessarily going long term. We care where price is going right now. So it's got to wait, be patient, wait for some confirmation here. Once we get the confirmation, we'll maybe be able to look for any possible opportunities here. But right now, there's just nothing for us to take here right now at the moment. Here's our clean chart. As you guys can see, price is still stuck within the range. It hasn't broken past it yet. If it does break past it, you can possibly catch this swing back to open. So we'll see. Yeah, exactly. CT said a seller trap. There's a ton of uncertainty though, so we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see. Barack said it seems to be buying now. I was anticipating for it to take out that low before correcting back up. For me personally, I thought it was at a lower low, so I wasn't expecting that to happen. I was expecting that to bounce directly off that level because when you see the lower lows here, the lower lows typically act as a floor. So I was actually looking at the opposite of what you were looking at, Barack. Whenever I see a lower low like that, if price comes back down for the retest, it's probably going to break it. Because you can see over here when there's a higher high, it establishes the roof, right? The ceiling. So you have the ceiling there and it comes back down. However, if price comes back and touches it, it usually continues pushing up higher. So like you mentioned over here, this is the same example that you mentioned down here, right? You're expecting it to come back down to it and then bounce. Right here, you can see it broke past it. And it continued climbing up higher until it established a new higher high. So you can see over here, there's a higher high, price never came back to retest and it came down heavier. Again, with this area right here, another higher high, price came down lower and never came back for the retest. So I see higher highs and lower lows as ceilings and bottoms, ceilings and floors versus like a retest area. If it's a regular high low, then maybe a retest area, but not necessarily a bounce, because it's typically, if it comes back to that area, it'll break past it. So it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the high-low scalps, right? If I was to see price come back down here or come back to any of these areas, as you can see, so if I take all these off right here, and you only see the higher highs and lower lows, whenever price comes back to that area, it usually breaks right through it, right? So we have a lower low right there, lower low right there, lower low right there, right? When price comes back below that area, it typically breaks through and then continues dropping. So I see those as stronger structures. And that's kind of what I'm looking for here. So if price does come back down to this area back below. So see, for example, here, it's at this lower high right here. This might be considered a double top if it gets established. It needs to establish though. So it can't just keep, coming up and then disappearing. It's got to actually establish at the same level or near the same level. And then when it comes down, it's probably going to shoot back down to the lower range here. And then when price breaks past this lower low, I would expect this to be a nice high-low scalp type area. So there's a lot of different ways to analyze the market. There's not one way, but for me, that's how I see it. And that's how I create these indicators to be used for that specific reason. Yeah. Yeah, Patricia said, really weird market so slow. Yeah, me too. It is weird because I mean, Fed speaking right now, Fed daily speaking right now, 7 o'clock. So I was expecting some volatility to pick up, but the market's super slow at the moment. The ATR is currently 14, so we don't even have any entries here for any momentum pullback scalps. It's just, I mean, it's pretty flat. So there's no momentum pullback scalps available for entry. The high-low scalp V2s, if price finally comes back down, there might be, but at the moment, there's just nothing here. Looks like retail sentiment's starting to drop super heavily. Retail sentiment's currently 62% short, so it's dropped about like 4% since market open. You can see it's pretty mixed right now. Yeah, 62% right now. So it's still bullish, but it's not very strong. So there's some breaking news over here from Ray Dalio. If you guys know Ray Dalio, he's one of the most well-renowned investors. Question point where the debt problem quickly gets even worse. You know, the thing with the US is I think the US will always and forever be in debt. I don't think we'll ever get out of debt. The only way that we'll make changes from that is by going to war, right? So that's a reason. That's why like the US is always backing up all of these other countries because they're in debt to those countries. They have to back them up. But yeah, you know, with the war going on in the Middle East, it's crazy. You know, World War III might just be coming up soon, which is pretty crazy. I think next year is going to be there's going to be a lot of stuff going on next year because we have the elections, plus we have the war in the Middle East, plus we have the war in Russia. So, and we have the recession coming or dwelling above us. So there's a lot of things coming, and they're all going to kind of clash sometime next year, I'm assuming, with the elections plus the depression plus, well, I don't know if we're going to go into depression. That's kind of, I think they're going to try to avoid calling it a depression. We're obviously in a recession or somewhat of a recession, and inflation is just going to keep going up. You know, the only way to kind of, I guess, fix the situation is to go to war. Because when you go to war, then everybody's in debt to us, right? Especially when it's a world war. And it's just, you know, it's all politics, and I feel like a lot of these wars happen for specific reasons. There's always an agenda behind these things. Like World War II, right? World War II wasn't supposed to really happen like that. But then that got us out of the recession. So it's kind of this, it's just a repeat process of like what's happened in the past. And I mean, I don't know. I'm just kind of curious to see how the market will run, because I don't think we've ever traded. Well, I personally haven't traded during a war. Like the war in Afghanistan, I didn't really trade during that time. At least not consistently. So I'm kind of curious to see what happens, because I know there's going to be a lot of volatility if that happens. And it's just going to be pretty interesting. Anyways, let me see if there's anything else here that I'm missing. Let's see. CT said 1 hour hit zone and setting up for a V1 structure. Gotcha. Yeah, so CT said on the 1 hour. It's bounced off the zone. Yeah, so, well, I mean, if the candle closes green, then it'll be a V1 correction back up, right? It would have to close green though. If it closes, so if this candle here closes green off this 1 hour candle, it's going to be a V1 pattern, a double body. But this is also a double body right here. So there's a double body off the 4 hour resistance, and then there's another double body right here. So it's actually already at a 4 hour right now, at a 1 hour V1 CT. So it'd just be a double V1 if that would be the case. There's a V1 right here. So there's a V1 right here. Price came down slightly. Another V1 right here. Price came up pretty heavy. V1 right there. Price is now coming down. So now that I see this here, price may continue to be bearish off this candle. because there's a V1 that's currently running for a sell right now. So I might be more inclined to look for sells versus buys at the moment. Because you can see whenever a V1 comes up, it usually kind of goes in that direction, at least for a little bit. So yeah, CT City, I just anticipating higher time frame. Yeah, no, I mean, but there's a V1 running already for the 1 hour right here for the opposite direction. So you're basically getting a V1 both directions. I don't think I typically see that happen very often. So if you look over here, you just look back real quick. I don't see any V1s that happen. Actually, sometimes they do. So this one right here was the first V1. This was a second V1, but the second V1 was a fake out. So I think a sell will be continuing. Yeah, so yeah, you rarely see it happen back to back like that. But when it happened back to back right here, it was a fake out. The first one was the actual. It just faked out and it came right back up. So we'll see. Let's see. CT said we sell short and move pre-market. I can see a higher move higher with Fed speak. Yeah, no, I can see that. The big candle right here can mean a lot of things though. So just because it's a big candle, I don't see a correction happening. That can just be the volume and liquidity. So this is going to be setting the actual direction, right? I actually see it opposite of what you're seeing, CT. So like for you, when I see a big candle like this, I usually see it opposite. I see that as a continuation. So like, for example, right here, big red candle, continuation, right? Big green candle, continuation. I don't see a correction happening when I see a big candle like that. I see the opposite. I see it continuing down, like big candle, continuation, big candle, continuation. Sometimes it does retrace back, but I mean, who knows? See, like whenever I see the abnormally large candles, like these are what I'd consider abnormally large, where they're like a lot bigger than the previous ones. Big candle continuation, etc. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, analysis can go either way, but for me here, I see a V1 variation. Plus, I see, the big candle there. I see this as continuing to drop. So we'll come back to it, but right now it doesn't really matter because there's nothing going on. Price is still within this range. So I don't really see anything happening that would necessarily, push price in either direction. The volatility is too low. It wouldn't matter. Like, I think looking on the 1 hour time frame is kind of pointless right now because today's Friday. You're not going to trade. This isn't going to last like until tomorrow, right? You have to focus on what's happening right now. I think looking on anything higher than like maybe the 15-minute or 30 minutes is kind of pointless because the market's only going to be open for like the next I don't know, 5 hours. So there's not really much to work off that, right? But we just need to push. I mean, realistically, we need to push here. We need to push out of it. If today was Monday, I'd probably be looking at what you're looking at, CT. But I think for today being Friday, it's kind of pointless because we're not going to hold any, or I don't think anybody would hold any positions over the weekend. You don't want to end up in a Steven position where he got pretty much wiped out on gold because of the crazy spread over the weekend. Yeah, so just a reminder, guys, the market, if you guys are holding a position over the weekend, the overnight fees are crazy. So you're probably not going to make any profit on the trade. And then also, if your stop loss is too tight, you're going to get pretty much wiped out with your stop loss. So if you guys do plan on holding positions over the weekend, I do recommend taking your stop loss off. It's not the safest move, but that's the only way to really survive over the weekend. Because if not, the spread gets extremely wide. I think it gets to like 35 points, maybe 60 points. That's like 600 pips. So if your stop loss is too close underneath that, you're going to get automatically pulled out. And then Patricia also mentioned that options expirations are today too. If that's the case, Patricia, I would expect even more volatility today, right? That's really weird that a lot of that stuff is happening, but there's no real volatility. All right, so looking at this right here, guys, you guys can see how price kind of faked out above the little area right there, the resistance, and now it came right back down. So now that we have the higher high right here, I'm gonna mark this up as the actual structure. And we have that lined up now. So price is coming back down. I mean, there's nothing for us to take here right now, but price is coming back down. So we have a sell signal right now. The volatility is too low, so there's no momentum pullback scalps that we can take at the moment, guys. ATR is currently at 14, so there's just not enough movement here for us to take the entry for a momentum pullback scalp. So we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait for volatility here to pick up. There might be a setup here for a high-low scalp V2, but again, you want to be careful with these entries because there's not really much volatility here. The last thing you want to do is get into a position and be stuck in it, right? You don't want to be stuck in it for a long period of time, especially with the spread, because you're going to get in at a negative. So you want there to be at least some volatility here before you can start looking for any possible entries. But at the moment, there's just nothing here. And the ETR is getting lower, which is pretty crazy. It's 7 o'clock right now. We're like prime time, market open time, and the volatility is extremely low. It's currently at 13. Fed Collins is going to speak in about 30 seconds. So hopefully this is the last Fed speaker of the day. Hopefully Fed Collins is going to push price out of this, at least create some volatility here because there's nothing going on here and it's super slow for a Friday. For one, it's Friday. Patricia mentioned that the option expirations are happening today. That should cause volatility. The Fed's been speaking all morning, so that should cause more volatility. There was high impact news this morning for building permits. And it's just a really weird market for a Friday. Usually we try to avoid Fridays because the volatility is so high. And today the volatility is doing the complete opposite. It's not even high at all. So let me check the calendar for next week. Let me see if there's anything else that's coming up. So we have FOMC minutes. We got existing home sales. We got durable goods, jobless claims, consumer sentiment. So it's just a follow-up. It's just more inflation news. Oh, Thanksgiving is next week too. Wow. That's crazy, guys. It's Thanksgiving already. So next week is Thanksgiving week. I didn't realize that it was Thanksgiving already. But yeah, we have some news. Not a lot of news, but it's just more inflation news. It's just it carries over. We have the FOMC minutes on Tuesday. And then just some more inflation news right here. So either people are already taking an early vacation or, I don't know what's going on really. The volatility just spiked up right here after the Fed spoke. So this here was a high-low scalp. It could have been a triple confluence, but it wasn't because the trend was bullish. But if we had a bullish trend here, this would be a triple confluence. You can see price is bearish, obviously, so it would be a triple confluence. But price spiked up immediately after the Fed started speaking. The price broke past the higher high right there. I think this will be a fake out. Price correction back down into the range down here. Pull right back down. Alan said President signed a spending bill to keep government open. Yeah, there's so many bailouts like that. I just keep having. Yeah, the government's supposed to have a shutdown or something because they can't agree on economic policy. But here, 1 second, guys. All right, let's see. Anything else here missing? Yeah, C6 said forgetting Christmas and Thanksgiving and Christmas is normal. You work for yourself. Yeah, exactly, C6. Yeah, C6 said that forgetting Christmas and Thanksgiving is a norm when you work for yourself because no one in your office to bring it up. Only shopping centers. Yeah, same here. Yeah, I remember that too. Like back when I was working a normal job, or when you work any job really, you know when it's going to be holidays because everyone's talking about it. But since I don't really work a real job, where you just trade here live every day, you don't have nobody to bring it up. So yeah, it's crazy how like Thanksgiving is coming up next week. This whole year flew by, guys. Like, if you guys have been trading with me all year, I feel like this year was it was pretty quick. Well, I mean, I feel like we say this every year. Once it comes down to November, the year just flies by super quickly. Especially since we're trading every day, because these days go by so quickly. If we're trading every day, we kind of just have a routine. Like for us, we trade in the morning, and then after that, you kind of do whatever, and you kind of forget what happens throughout the rest of the day. Uh, I don't know if you guys feel that way, but I feel that way because every day I'm looking forward to the next trading day. So once we get off this live session, I kind of just go on with my day, and I'm like anticipating the next trading day. So I'm looking to make more money the next day. So yeah, I feel like that's kind of what speeds up the process too. Let's see if there's anything else here. Maddie said it might make its way to open if it continues up. Yeah, I was expecting a fake out though. So price did fake out right here. And then now it's back into the range. Volatility is currently at 14 right now, so it's still pretty low. Picking up a little bit, bouncing between 14 and 15. So if we get a sell signal right here, it might start setting up for a momentum pullback scalp. The only problem here again is that price is currently it's just pretty slow. There's a bunch of levels over here for high-low scalp V2s if they do start coming up. So there's a high-low scalp V2 that's still setting up over here on the 5-minute. So price ends up pushing up a bit, closes up there and comes back down. This might be a better setup. Yeah, if this here closes with the sell signal, guys, there's going to be a high-low momentum scalp. If anybody's looking to take it, the volatility again is kind of low, but this could be a decent entry if anybody's looking to take it. I'll probably think about taking it as well because price did retrace up and it looks like it might be due for correction back down. So we'll see how this here closes. You got to wait for the momentum signal here to close, guys. I think this could be good, but you have to wait for the actual signal to close because if it doesn't close, there's no entry there. And it does not look like there's an entry there, unfortunately. So again, same thing that we were looking at earlier with the earlier, high-low momentum scalp right there. Because this one over here did play through. It took a very long time to hit, but it eventually played through. This one over here again didn't close. There's just a bunch of fake outs. This is the same thing we were looking for here. We were looking for that buy signal to close on this previous candle. It didn't close, so it kind of invalidated the entry. Same with this one right here. It was coming down and it looked like it could have been a good entry. If this closed like down below here, I probably would have taken it because it established that it created a ceiling and then it probably would have climbed back down to knock out these lower levels. But since it didn't close, there's no entry there. And on top of that, the volatility is extremely low. It's currently at 13 now, so it's not looking good. 721 right now. So I'm hoping we get something here, but if not, I'm not going to force anything, of course. It's just kind of frustrating. I wanted to take at least one trade today. There's a pivot scalp running right now, but I wouldn't take the volatility so low. Let's see, what day did this week start on? Yeah, Andrea said ping pong fake outs everywhere. Exactly. It's so annoying. It's annoying because it's like there's a lot of setups that are kind of coming, but then they don't come, right? They just don't come. We had a pretty good week so far. So what I'm going to do here is I'll continue looking for entries here, but I'm going to start taking screenshots of my accounts for the week so that you guys can kind of see where we ended up this week. So we did pretty decent. Even though it was probably kind of like I mean, it wasn't a great week, but did pretty decent. This week started on the 12th. Yeah, because I usually don't look at my profits for the week. But now that I see them, I'm kind of content with what I did for the week so far. I'll just take these individual screenshots of my profits for the week. Volatility is low. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. I mean, obviously you can see the market. There's nothing going on here that's really worthwhile. So I'm not going to force anything. If I see something good, I'll take it. But just looking at how the market's currently moving right now, ATR is currently at 13, so it's not looking so great. So I just want to take this get the screenshots of these accounts so that you guys can see like the power of having multiple accounts. Because eventually I want you guys to be on the same level as a lot of us here. The power of taking like one trade and how much it adds up for an entire week. And especially if you don't have, and especially if you're on a winning streak. So I'm just taking screenshots from like Monday till today so that you guys can see everything that I've done. And I just want to show you guys the discipline of taking like one trade a day and not having any losses. Because if you don't have any losses, your profits just add up. It's like it's inevitable. And I feel like, if you guys approach the market the same way, it it makes a huge difference in your consistency and profitability. So the ATR has not picked up at all. I'm basically just looking down here, guys. Before I start looking for any entries, I'm like literally just looking down right here. If you guys are wondering where I'm staring at, I just look down right here to see where the ATR is at. Until it picks up to like 15, I'm probably not even gonna bother to look at the charts at all because there's just no reason for us to look at the charts when the volatility is so low. The last thing I want to do is get caught in a position that just keeps going back and forth for an extended period of time, especially on a Friday. Because Fridays are not necessarily the days where you should take, unnecessary risk. There's just no reason for it. Weird. Back to the charts. Yeah, it's just getting lower. So if you look again right here, guys, it's now 12. So it went from 17 to 15 to 14 to now 13 to now 12. yeah, it's this market is not it. So yeah, guys, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll answer whatever questions you guys have, even if it's a strategy question or an indicator question. We're not really missing much in the market right now. CT said sideways accumulation, traps everywhere. Daniel said blue balls. Yeah, I know, it's exactly. There's nothing. There's a bunch of like kind of setups that were looking nice, and then it just never provided any entries for us. So unfortunately, I don't want to say typical Friday, because today's definitely not a typical Friday. It's a very unusual Friday, actually. For the market being so slow with all the news that still happened. Daniel said going to get an early start at the gym. Have a good weekend, everyone. Yeah, definitely, Daniel. We'll see you back here on Monday. So have a great weekend. Yeah, it's probably better, man. It kind of sucks that we didn't catch any of those high-level momentum scalps you're looking for. I was hoping to catch one with you, but it's all good. So, all right, Daniel, we'll see you back here on Monday. Have a good weekend. And we'll be back here. Hopefully market's better next week. I actually don't see the market being much better next week. I think it'll be decent, but I don't think it's gonna be much better because next week is Thanksgiving. So I'm expecting low volatility, unless people just took early vacation. You know, that could be the case, because you know, people probably just took a long weekend. It's Thanksgiving next week. People probably were like, okay, I'm done trading for the week, and they're just done. So the volatility here is super low. So I'm not really expecting too much. This is how the market typically looks during the holidays. So if you guys remember before, I mentioned, okay, let's make all this money before Thanksgiving and before Christmas, because the market starts to die down a bit. This is what I meant about market dying down, but I wasn't expecting it to happen so early. Usually it happens like the week up, like probably like by Wednesday, Tuesday, market's kind of slow, but not like the week before. You know, usually people want to just flush out their positions and stuff, and it'll cause a lot of volatility. But for whatever reason, today is just one of those days where, I mean, there's nothing. Let me check the Discord if anybody made any profits today. So we had Craig here. So Craig actually did pretty good. So Craig over here took a couple trades. He just needed to make enough to get his account withdrawal, or just to balance it out. So locked in a total profit of 265 for the day. All wins here. So nice work right there, Craig, with your trade. I know Craig was talking about how he has like the worst leverage on his current broker. So it's just, it is what it is, but you got to deal with it. And I'm glad that you're able to sort through that. So let me just post up my profits here real quick for the week. I didn't take anything for the day, but I'm gonna show you guys, you know, if you guys are consistent throughout the week, this is the level of consistency that I want to get you guys to, because I think once you guys get to this consistency and you guys can do this every single week, it's going to change your life. I literally think this will change your life. If you can get to this consistency, like my level of consistency where you take no losses for the week. Anyways, let me just show you guys real quick. There's nothing to look at here. If you guys have any other questions, you know, feel free to put them in the chat. But anyways, here goes my profits for the week so far. So here is my copier with all of my accounts. Wait, that's not it. Here's my copier with all of my accounts. So as you guys can see over here, I don't have any trades for the day. So for the week so far, this is pretty much what I have for the week. This is what I have for the day. I haven't taken any trades, but this is really what I wanted to show you guys. So here's my funded engineer account. You can see this is all my trades from November 13, which is Monday, up until today, November 18. I just wanted to show you guys for this week. You know, we had no losses, and this is what I want you guys to get to. So this is my funded engineer, total profit of 2,300. That's my first funded engineer. Here is my FTMO. You can see again right here, I just pretty much blocked it off to just show you what we did this week so far. Took a couple trades, total profit of 2,700, all wins, right? So if you guys can do this consistently and just have all wins every day, This isn't always going to happen, right? This isn't going to be like the norm, right? But you guys can see from my spreadsheet over here, if you guys ever want to compare my trades, I got the spreadsheet with all my trades here, and then you have all the actual trades here as well to see, you know, what I did for the week, because our main goal here is not to lose, right? Our main goal is not to win, because the winning is just obvious. It's going to happen. It's automatic if you can trade properly and consistently. The main goal here is really to not lose. So you can see here, this is my main account with the green strip. This is my second FTMO, locking 4,100, all wins here as well. And this is my third FTMO. Right here, locked into 5,400, same thing, all wins. Same trades across all the accounts because I have my copier. You can see this one doesn't have the green strip. This one does, because this is my main account. I do all my trades on this account. The reason why I have less profit on here is because if you guys remember that trade where I took a 0.01, it gave me pennies versus, you know, 900 that I got on here. So this is my third FTMO. Here is my second funded engineer account. Same thing, same trades, just copied over to this account, 1,115. Here is my personal account. This is my Hero FX, locked in total profit of 590 for the week. All wins here, of course. Here's my IC Markets account, the one that I'm trading with the hedge fund. A total of 900 for the day. All wins there. And then, of course, over here, we have my TFF locked in 2,500. All wins there. And my second one over here, my TFF number 2, total profit of 2,426. So, you know, I'm just showing you, I'm not showing this to show off to you guys, right? Because I do this every week. It's not like this is something new. Like, this is literally my every week, right? I don't have any losses because I'm pretty consistent with my trades. I haven't had a loss since November 23rd. So it's been like, well, like 2 or 3 weeks since I haven't had any losses. I just want to show you guys the consistency, right? Because I want to show you guys and be 100% transparent with you guys. I'm not taking a bunch of trades. I'm taking like this many trades here for like small profits, but they add up over time. So that's kind of what I'm showing you here. If you can do this every single week, like imagine if you guys could do this every week and just have a couple of trades once a day or twice a day, and then they add up. So by the end of the week, you're up like 5,000. You're like, okay, and then you add that all up. Like for example, here, if I add up all my profits, I already added it up right here. I'm currently up to 22,177 across, you know, all of the accounts here. So again, guys, that's my goal for you guys. That's kind of where I want to get you guys to, but you know, you can't get yourself there until you start to really follow the game plan. So there's a high-low scalp V2 that is currently pending right here. See how price kind of broke below. It's retracing up right here. What I'm looking for here, I'm not going to take this entry, but I'll mark it up for you guys. If you guys do want to take it, I probably would take it for a partial, because it's the ATR is too low. Volatility is super low right now. It's currently 12. So I'd probably only go for, you know, maybe 100 pips or so. Because if you hold on to it for too long, you're going to be stuck in that position for an extended period that you don't want to be stuck in it for. So currently right now, the ATR is too low, so there's no momentum pullback scalps, unfortunately. I mean, there's not even an entry here that has come up yet, but it might be setting up for an entry soon. We currently have a red candle right here. We're looking for it to retrace up and come back down. We just don't have that yet. So nothing there. There is nothing. So the setup over here for the high-low scalp V2 hasn't come up yet. It's still pretty much, I mean, it's still flat. If this comes up and retraces from this area, then you come back down from that area, but it hasn't came up yet. So this level over here, I mean, there's 2 different entry points here for the high-low scalp V2. There's one right here that that's still pending because the price never pulled up for the entry. This right here, price broke below, another opportunity again right here. So again, if you guys are looking to take this trade, I would probably only go for partial move because of the extremely low volatility. So if you want to use this level here, I'll just mark it up there. So here's the 10 mark right here. I'm gonna mark it up so you guys understand where the 10 level is. So if you guys just want to pull out, you can. And that's 20. That's a 30. Oh, actually, you're right. So Randy over here mentioned that there's already a high-low that's currently running right now. I didn't even realize that there was one here, but there's actually one that's already running. Broke below, came back above. Yeah, there's one that's actually already active right now. So it's active and it's in profit. I probably wouldn't mess with this one then. Well, I mean, if you wanted to, it's coming back down. So there's two entries running side by side of each other right here. So if you guys are looking to take that for like even 100 pips or so. Now I'm kind of tempted. Let me see if I can maybe get into this here because it looks like I could maybe even get in for just 100 pips quickly. The ATR is super low though. So like if you guys want to take a position again, like I mentioned, you probably want to get in and out very quickly for like about 100 pips. So let me see. Yeah, the 100 pip mark is like right here, I believe. Or even less than 100 pips. If you start to feel uncomfortable about a position or wherever it's currently at, you probably want to just get out. The ATR is too low right now. So let me see if I can maybe get into this here. Maybe a quick 100 or something like that. So it looks like the volatility is starting to pick up quite a bit. Let me check over here real quick, look at everything else. Well, not really a lot. It looks like it's moving, but it really isn't. It's kind of flat. Let me go to our clean chart. I think this would be a better. Okay, so this is a little tricky here because price bounced off the support with a lower low. So this might be a little tricky area here. Let's see if there's anything over here. Let's see, Randy had a question here. He said, just a comment about Top Step with their scaling plan. When you get funded account, it sure is challenging to work yourself up to 15 lots. Yeah, no, there's a couple people here, Randy, who are funded with Top Step. Yeah, it's a grind. So you have to be consistent for a while before you can get up from, you know, hold on one second, guys, sorry, dogs are barking. It takes you a while for you to build up from that, you know, the initial minimal lots or maximum lots up until like, you know, 15 lots. But once you get to that point and you're higher, it definitely does work out pretty well. But yeah, the scaling plan does suck. I don't use Top Step anymore, guys, just an FYI, if you guys didn't realize. I stopped using Top Step because I couldn't add, well, it was too hard to trade two accounts. So I couldn't trade my MT4 and then also on top of that trade my my Top Step because they're on different platforms. So I'm no longer using Top Step. There's still a good handful of people in our group who are using Top Step and they're doing pretty well with it. I think Eunice is like one of them. He posts profits every day in the group. So if you guys have seen Eunice's profits, yeah, so Eunice is funded with Top Step right here. You can see he made like 458 yesterday and then like 500 the day before that, stuff like that. So there's members in our group who are using Top Step. I think they're a great broker and they're a great platform to trade on if you're not using MT4 already, because I have like 10 accounts on my MT4, so it just doesn't make sense for me to make that leap, right? And I'm just looking at price, you know, price is still kind of flat. I'm still kind of tempted to get into it, but I don't know. It's just not looking so great because it's kind of going back and forth a lot from where it's currently at. Yeah, Randy, totally agree. The scaling plan sucks. I'm used to trading 15 lots, and that's how he passed the combine. Yeah. You know, I think, well, I know for sure the reason they do that is because they want to basically guarantee that people don't blow their accounts. So they basically want you, like, once you get funded, they want you to take it easy and, like, you know, slowly ease your way in. And I think that's a good thing because, like, you see a lot of people who get funded and then as soon as they get funded, they blow their accounts, right? That's typically the norm for people. It doesn't matter what funding company they're on, but that's usually what happens with a lot of people. So I think that's what the main reason why why they do that. They basically guarantee that it's impossible to lose your funded, but it is kind of a bummer because you're just basically grinding out like pennies or a few dollars before you can get to like your full amount that you're used to. All right, let me see if there's anything else. Shannon's asking, okay, I see, Sean, are you marking up official and potential? No, we're not. So we're only marking up official, Shannon. We're not doing potential because you know how much work that'd be. How many potential trades come up? Like if I also mark up like 4 liquidity pushes, you know, like it'd be impossible for me to even do this live session with you guys. So no, I'm not doing the potential because there's no point in potential, right? We care about what's official. So no potential trades are marked up because those are trades that I pretty much put out for you guys if you would like to take them, but they're not exactly, well, they're definitely not official because there's just no point in having potential and official. Then you're gonna have 2 different spreadsheets of like numbers that don't coincide, right? So we just have official, no potential. It just doesn't make sense to have it that way. All right, guys, so I think this might be it. It's 7:43 right now. We're not really seeing too much. The volatility is very low. It's kind of just, you know, we saw the bounce off the support here and price just hasn't really been doing anything. I mean, it's doing something. It's pulling back into the range, but it's not exactly moving in the direction that we were waiting for or that we were anticipating. So, all right, guys, if there's any other questions, you know, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up for the day. Let's see. Owl Eyes said Dow will break the current low more. I mean, I was hoping for that, Owl Eye, but it looks like it didn't happen, right? So you said it was going to break at 34,860. I was kind of hoping that was the case, but it, I mean, kind of just pulled back into the range over here. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for today. There's no point in us really doing anything. You're just going to force stuff at this point. So I think that's about it. So, all right, guys, have a great weekend. Be safe. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you guys back here on Monday for Market Open.